Hey everyone, my name is Taps, and I wanted to share with you some crypto space updates, but more importantly, some OMI updates, a theorized Ecomi Veve roadmap that I actually built based off of what Reese at Ecomi recently said in an interview, and why I wouldn't be panic selling. I'm a crypto stock and real estate investor, but definitely not a financial advisor. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the community, and feel free to subscribe. Before we begin, I want to let everyone know I did create a Twitter account, which I have no idea what I'm doing, but you can follow me and talk to me on there. I'll put the picture of it up top. But I hopped on there to follow some fellow OMI bulls and follow some crypto that come out with updates directly on there. Several of you have also asked me to create a Patreon or a Discord of some kind so that way we can have constant communication. I will be working on that this week, and we'll announce the details in the community feature or in the next video. So I'm going to give you a real quick crypto space update, which I think is pretty big and important, as well as some OMI or Veve updates, and then a theorized roadmap that I built based off what Reese at Ecomi said in an interview, and then a real life example based off my holdings on why it's lucrative to hold and not panic sell. So with that said, let's get into the first update, which is based on the crypto space as a whole. So the first update is what Peter Thiel said at the Richard Nixon Foundation event. So if you're not familiar with Peter Thiel, he is a long-term, very big investor, as well as the co-founder of PayPal and Palantir, which are actually two stocks that I hold and have held for a while. At this event, during this interview, Peter Thiel essentially said that, here I'll actually read it from this one, but he said, this is a direct quote from him. He said, "I do wonder whether Bitcoin should be thought of as a Chinese financial weapon against the US. It threatens fiat money, but it especially threatens the US dollar." Now, some could see this as a negative thing, but Peter Thiel is very pro crypto, and what he did, in my opinion, was genius. He essentially created a financial arms race. You know, the US dollar is the world reserve currency and has been so for a long, long time. And so he basically said, US government, either adopt and embrace crypto, or you're going to lose this financial arm race to China, who's very much leaning into everything crypto. And so that was a brilliant move on his side. And in general, I think we're going to see a big, big jump in Bitcoin and Ethereum and the crypto space as a whole. This bull cycle is far from over. I'm really excited to see some continued adoption and things like this happen. So I want to bring this to your attention. The next update is an OMI update. And I think several are already aware of it, but Andre Jick invested $150,000 into OMI, which is 16 million OMI. So this is massive because, yes, Andre Jick is a very well-known YouTuber, and the fact that he has 1.42 million subscribers. The thing that a lot of people haven't addressed is Andre is a well-known stock and real estate investor who dabbles in crypto. He is not an outspoken talking about all these different altcoins or low cap gems or something that OMI would really fall into the limelight for. So this is important because remember how in my past videos I've spoke about how more exchanges, more awareness, more buying in equals some larger whales. Those large whales tend to travel in packs. And Andre is a large whale not just by YouTube standards, but by investment standards. So a large stock and real estate investor like Andre jumping in will spread to also like meet Kevin, who's also a really big stock and real estate investor, or Stockmo, who also dabbles, but he's more into like the Bitcoin and Ethereum, like the safer crypto. So this will also jump to other investors who are in the NFT space, like Mark Cuban, Gary Vee, plenty of other investors who are not yet actively speaking about OMI. So this has significance, and I wanted to at least highlight that side versus just, hey, a big YouTuber just invested into OMI. The next big update is that Veve came out and said that there are not going to be any drops this week. So this could be seen as like, oh man, like no drops. They've been saying every week that's a bad thing. No. In an interview recently with Crypto Strange or Crypto String. I'm not sure how to say it. I need to check him out actually. Reese came on and actually did say that the reason why they're not doing this is because while we saw improvements in the app, the last Mermicorno and the Back to the Future drop, it still needs some work on the bandwidth. And there's a bunch of other things that they committed to for coming out by the end of the month. So they want to focus on the app bandwidth and the two-factor authentication and the marketplace, which are big things that we also want to come out. So I'm stoked that they're not going to be doing another drop and work on the functionality. The last update is this video itself. If you've not seen this and you are an Ecomi Veve bull, you should watch this video, and I'll put it down in the details down below. But in this video, Reese gives us exactly what I've been wanting. Like he gave us a lot of basically a roadmap, which I did build one that's kind of theorized to what he said. But in this video, he comes out and says they have NDAs with many brands, and he can't release all the names yet until the art is already created and the collectibles are ready to be released, right? They want to retain that hype, and they want to retain a lot of that, what we're looking forward to, which makes sense. And so they have 100 brands on board, he said, enough content for 5 to 6 years. 5 to 6 years. If you're worried about Ecomi fizzling out, yeah, you don't have to be anymore. So Reese reveals that Star Trek and Jurassic Park are for sure coming this quarter, which, Star Trek is the most highly collected franchise out there. And I, for one, can't wait for the Jurassic Park side because I'm looking forward to having hopefully movable dinosaurs in my backyard running around, playing my dog. I think that's going to be incredible. He then goes on to say that they've been approached by tons of sports teams and celebrities, and that we should see the NFL collectibles come the end of this quarter as well. He said they're focused on building out the app development, again, currently interoperability, so they're not exclusively tied to the Ethereum network, which is also going to broaden out a lot of the exchanges they can work on. Again, that two-factor authentication, there's been a lot of theft and a lot of password stealing. Actually, I wouldn't say a lot, but there have been cases. So that is going to help a lot, but they're going to have that coming out before the end of the month. And then getting on multiple exchanges is a focus. That is what I wanted to hear. He also said around mid-year, so summer, there will be a new digital product announced and the Artist Alley will be released. So to me, that seems like they're going to be enabling a lot of artists to directly create content, or maybe they'll release their NFTs, broadening out not just the collectible side. So maybe they'll have a little bit more of a rareable functionality. But that digital product announced it's good, right? They established the base, and now they're starting to create arms slowly, so that way they continue to stay relevant and continue to grow and scale with the hype, which brilliant. And again, all this will be bit by bit. So it'll allow them to continue to have a steady gain, not fizzle out. So what did I do with this info? I decided to take it, align it with my price prediction, which I did in this video, wherever point to, and I built a roadmap. So I'm going to show you this roadmap, but I want to say this is speculative, right? This is my roadmap. I built this. I tied it to my price prediction based on a lot of number crunching that I did, which if you haven't seen that, you can go back and watch that video as the OMI price prediction. I think I did it about a week ago or so. But I'm going to walk you through this. And I tied a lot of what Reese said in that video, which again, you can go back and watch that video, directly to the pricing. So on the left-hand side here, we see this is by cents. So 5 cent, 10 cent, 15 cent, 20 cent, 25 cent. And again, this is something I built, not Ecomi, not Veve, but I wanted to actually put it all together in a way that makes sense by month to month, right? Because everyone gets frustrated when we drop, from 1 cent to, 0.008 over the course of 3 weeks. And I get it. Things happen fast in the crypto space. So you need to just like take a step back and realize what can happen in a month, 2 months, 5 months, and see how we can actually break this out into pieces. As we can see, this is where we're at today, around 0.008, and and these are not dead numbers. I'm not saying by May we're going to be at 2 cents, but sometime around that like week or two around May, I'm seeing that will be hopefully around 2 cents. 4 cents June, 10 cents by July, and we can see what these big swings are in terms of percentage gain from its previous. So when we look at going from less than a cent to 16 cents in 5 months, it seems unattainable, right? But when you look at it by percentage between the jumps, it's not a big, huge number, and it's actually feasible when we actually take a look at those in-betweens. And what these big squiggles are, these are basically where I see there being a ton of volatility, right? Like we saw a lot of big volatility when it jumped up from 0.0032 up to 1 cent or 1 1/3 cent. And so now we're at that 8 cent where we've kind of found a base. But I'm going to walk you through where I see things happening per month. So we have about 2.5 more weeks, or about 3 weeks or so left in the month. And in that time, there'll be about 2 to 3 more drops. So we're not having one this week, but maybe they do 2 in one of these other weeks, or they have a secret drop. And so at least 2 more drops. I'm expecting one new exchange, and I'm not expecting a Binance or anything big. I'm expecting like a Hotbit or a Bilaxy or something that is not as top tier exchange like a Kraken or Binance or anything like that, but still easier to get than what happened with Uniswap and has more use than like a Bit4X. And then on that also increasing the app bandwidth to handle, I mean, they went from like in a month 15,000 users to over 160,000 users, which is insane. So they are going to be taking some time to build that out. The 2-factor authentication that we spoke about, the OMI gem conversion, and the marketplace should be opening up before the end of the month. So all of these things, and I think I read somewhere that they did tie some kind of burn rate. I don't know if it was like 2.5% or some, it was some kind of burn rate tied directly to the marketplace as well, but I don't want to give an exact number. But that's what we see for the rest of this month. And this is the price target I see around that time frame. Now, May, June, we should see in that month 4 to 6 more drops. I'm expecting another exchange, maybe 2. Again, lower tier exchanges, so Bilaxy, Hotbit, something like that. And then we'll see the Star Trek and Jurassic Park drops, I believe, next month. We'll see more interoperability. So they're going to be building off more than just Ethereum. And again, the added bandwidth. So I did add some constants, right, that are going to constantly happen throughout this entire process. And I think that bandwidth app usability is going to be a big piece. All of it during this time, they're burning tokens. They're burning constant circulating supply, lowering that amount in building value as, again, more and more usability is built out. They're going to be signing new licenses. Celebrity influencer adoption will continue. User growth. I mean, I don't know when they're going to hit 1 million users, but at the growth rate that they've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not within like 2 or 3 months. On to June, July. June, July, I'm expecting another 4 to 6 more drops. That's when I think we'll see a large exchange, because that's going to be the end of the quarter. When I look at like most product launches and startup companies who I work with every single day, they usually do large, big money moving announcements at the end of the quarter and or at the beginning of the quarter. And so I could see a Bittrex or a Kraken or a Binance or something like that happening around this time and between June to the start of July. That is also when I believe the NFL and new brand drops will come. And when I say new brand drops, I mean like, you know, they'll have some more mixed in. Maybe they'll be doing like Series 3 of Batman or another Mermicorno mixed in there with the NFL side. But I also believe that they'll be doing some new licenses announcing, right? Like they'll have been working on, I guess that was something I should have added into the constant side, is directly working with artists constantly to get these collectibles created in the back end before they announce one of these other 100 licenses that they already have in the queue. In July, August, I think we'll continue to see more drops, 4 to 6, 1 to 2 more exchanges. Again, not probably a large exchange, but again, just building more access, maybe into some like a Huobi or something. New digital product launch he announced, so that'll be another arm of Ecomi, and the Artist Alley vertical I believe will come around sometime in here as well. He said middle of the year. And then August, September, so that is when I gave my price prediction. Again, we're right around here in the middle of August at that 16-cent mark, and that is where I see another large exchange being announced, and I believe that'll probably be when we'll see Binance. A lot of people said Coinbase. I don't think Coinbase will come this year personally, just because Coinbase are very, very big sticklers on how long it takes to adapt a token into being used on their exchange. But I'm not worried about that. I do think Ecomi will eventually make it to Coinbase, but probably in 2022 personally, which again, they've got 5 to 6 years of backlog on licenses. I'm not worried about their growth. That's actually a typo. So I probably should add something else. So that's actually a typo, but I just need to put more new licensing, new drops added in there as well. So when we actually break it down, again, there's a lot of volatility that we'll see up and down movement. And I think around that 10-cent side, or about the 8-cent to 10-cent side, we'll see a ton of volatility. That's where I think we'll see the most, because people will take profit, right? And I think taking profit is important, but when you have something like this, it's important to realize where it's going and how easy it is for it to get there. It just takes time. So we can see based on the swings, 250%, 200%, 250%, 160%, there are several projects that don't even have this much usability and utility and licenses and partnerships that they're doing that are having these swings. So this is how I see Ecomi and Veve applying some of these announcements that Reese put in here directly to a roadmap. And again, this is my speculation. Ecomi did not build this. TapsTrades built this. So this is at least a visualization of how I see them hitting this. And if you're like, hey, there's no way that in the next 3 weeks it'll be able to go from 0.008 to 2 cents. Like that's 250%. There's no way. Well, when we look at Ecomi, and several people got in back in the start of March or middle of March, or I got in at the beginning of February. So when we actually look at Ecomi 3 weeks ago, about a month ago. About a month ago, it was at 0.0032, and it shot up 400% almost up to about 1 1/3 cent in a week. And then it consolidated down and continued to consolidate down to that 0.008 roughly, with some volatility that we saw, and it's stuck there for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So I get it. Like, if several of you invested around 1 cent or above it, and you just see it continually going down, you're freaking out, right? Like, some people panic sold and they're like, oh man, like this thing's a bomb. It's been 3 weeks. Like, that happens all the time in crypto, not just NFTs. Like, when we look at Bitcoin has been steady for a month, just trading sideways, up, down, but mostly just found a steady point where it's been going, and we're expecting a breakout here in the next week or so. But again, it isn't just Ecomi, and especially when it has such a big shot up like that. When we look at Cardano has traded sideways for about a month and a half or so. And we look at Elron had a massive jump up, and then for 2 months it traded sideways before continuing its big gain. So it isn't just Ecomi, and I wanted to at least let you guys know to take a breath and do not panic sell, because if you're down, just be patient, because based on all these things, Ecomi has a lot more to go, and they're just giving it to us bit by bit. And I'm really excited to see how this price continues to go, as well as where the company is going to go as well. So I wanted to show those things just to address like the 250% swing, 200%, like that isn't a massive thing month by month, especially when you compare it to other crypto that don't even have roadmaps or as much coming out compared to Ecomi. So the next slide I want to share with you, I created not to brag, but just to show you why there's value in hodling, in having conviction in strong projects. And in this is my top 10 holdings by dollar amount. So I want to speak to this, and I started my investing journey about 3 years ago. I didn't have a ton of money, and I had some debt, but I sat down and planned year over year financial goals basically for the next 5 years at that time, and I started investing into stocks and crypto with the little money I had. And basically in that 5-year plan that I made, I was able to do in 3, where we are today, and it's looking really, really good by the end of this year especially. So and again, it's not to brag, it's just to let you guys know, especially those of you who are new to investing, do not panic sell, which I highlighted right here. And I'm going to show you, like, I invested first into crypto about the middle of the drop in 2018. So I got into Bitcoin, I got into Ethereum, I got into Ripple, XRP, and EOS, and one other one, and I just watched it fall. And I could have panic sold and been like, oh, I'm swear off crypto, like there's no money to be made. And that would have been a huge, huge mistake, because 3 years later we can see I'm up 500% on Ethereum and Bitcoin. I think XRP with its rally recently, it's up like 800, 900%. But that's not the piece I want to speak to about this. The piece I want to speak to about is I invested in 2018 very little. I then invested more serious amount, but not a ton still, in August. And then when I saw the writing in the wall, right when I thought, okay, I think this is the next bull cycle, because it took time to learn about the bull cycles and bear cycles, and I tripled my investment. So that was the day before Thanksgiving 2020. And then again, December 1st is when I got heavier more into like a ton of altcoins. And in 5 months, Zilliqa, 600%. In 8 months from August, Cardano, 900% gains. These are my gains, right? Just by hodling. I didn't sell any of these. OMI, 2 months, 600%. I got in February. VeChain, 900% in 5 months. SNX, 400% in 5 months. eGold, Elron, 2,600% in 5 months. I didn't sell a single token until this weekend when I took some profit. And I didn't sell a ton. I took 20%. And I have taken some profit from Bitcoin, Ethereum, only to reinvest into some altcoins, some low cap gems that I think will do really well over the next 4 to 5 months. And then I plan on selling some and taking profit before the bear cycle initiates, and then reinvesting, because I think that's where millionaires or multimillionaires will be made, is investing at the start of the bear cycle and hodling for the next 2 years or whenever the next bull cycle, when the next bull cycle hits. HBAR, 900% in 5 months. Engine, 900% in 2 months, even more than OMI. And when you look back at my first crypto video that I ever did, which was, I think, almost a month ago, which, hey, thank you guys so much for all the subscribers. Like, really happy that we built a community around this. But the first video I did was OMI and Engine, 2 NFT tokens to watch or something like that. And they've shot up. That was a month ago. So the point to this is diamond hands, hodl. Like, you can take profit, but take profit at comfortable percentages or comfortable tiers where you think it'll like make an impact on your life. Do not panic sell. Like, I invested in all of these projects because I saw utility to them. I saw value in them. I believed they were going to have incredible growth, and I was right? And so I held on to them, and I think several of these do have more to run, but I'm not investing more into Bitcoin and Ethereum because they could 2x or maybe 3x, but I'm looking for the projects that over the next 4 to 5 months will continue to run to have 1,000% or 800% or so or more. And that's where I think you're going to have the most success is if you buy at a high, chill. Wait for it to go because you invested most likely in a strong project, which Ecomi, OMI, Veve is one. So take a breath. Realize that you're invested in an amazing company with amazing tokenomics that has incredible growth, 5 to 6 years of licensing backlogged, and isn't a new player. So shout out to Shaq for showing me this video. He brought it to a couple of us, our attention, and he's, I've been in constant communication with him. He's absolute asset to the community. He showed this video from 2018 and I watched the entire thing, and it's 3 years ago. David Yu at the Nifty convention speaking about, or an NFT convention, and I think Nifty sponsored it, but he was speaking about Ecomi and everything that they were going to build and everything they were going to do, and had some of the functionality in the AR, and it was still young, but this is something that has been building a foundation for 3 years. They're not a new player. They didn't just come out in February when a lot of us invested. They just started releasing a lot of the licensing in some of the active functionality that you and I can use over the past couple months. And when you look at David as a CEO, he has an impressive background of continuous success in licensing and branding. And so he is a guru in that side and has a ton of success before Ecomi, but Ecomi is his baby that has absolutely grown up really fast. And I've said this before, but we're still early. So stand by your investment. So I hope you all found this valuable. If so, let me know in the comments down below. Please click the like button so more can see this video and see some of the content, and maybe give them a little more reassurance around if they bought at the top, why they should hold their investment. You can also click the subscribe and notification bell for future content, but that's all I got today. So with that said, I'm Taps. Thank you for your time, and happy trading.